Hey y'all, so we're picking back up again today with this cup. My cup runs over, and this has been, I love someone. I love someone, but the depth and the richness of this Psalm 23, I hate to say that it has taken me by surprise, but it has really just surprised me at how deep and how connected and how intertwined, and just I love the Holy Spirit and that He brings fresh revelation every time we read it. So I'm excited to get back into it with you today. So yesterday we were talking about Jesus and the cup, and Him giving us His cup, and that's where I want to pick up today. And let's go to Luke, because I like that account of Jesus' words in the Last Supper. So I'm in Luke 22, and let's start in verse 19. And this is literally the Last Supper, where Jesus took the bread and the wine, and this is what He said to His disciples. Verse 19, then He took a loaf of bread, and when He had given thanks, He broke it and gave it to them, saying, this is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me. And in like manner He took the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the new covenant or testament, ratified in my blood, which is shed and poured out for you. And what I wrote in my Bible here is that, and then He gave it to them, because it says that in verse 20, it says in like manner. So in verse 19, it says that He took the bread, when He gave thanks, He broke it and gave it to them. So in the same way, in the like manner, He took the cup and He said, this is the cup. This cup is the New Testament or covenant, ratified in my blood, which is shed and poured out for you. And then He gave it to them. Do you see that exchange there? That He said, this cup is the New Testament. This cup is the new covenant. And I give it to you. Isn't that a beautiful picture? And then Jesus says, when He prayed in the garden, Matthew 26, verse 39, He said, and going a little farther, He threw Himself upon the ground and His face and prayed, saying, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass away from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, not what I desire, but as you will and desire. And can I just take you just a couple of places here to talk about the cup which Jesus was talking about. Of course, we've looked at the cup being our portion, our lot in life, but I'd also like to look at this cup as the covenant, the Old Testament, the Old Covenant, the law. And let's go to, it's in Matthew 5:17. Jesus said, do not think that I have come to do away with or to undo the law of the prophets. I have come not to do away with or undo, but to complete and fulfill it. And Paul talks about this in Romans chapter 8, verses 3 and 4. And I know this is a lot to take in. So I'm just going to give you the scriptures today. We're going to kind of pull it apart. But Romans 8, 3 and 4. For God has done what the law could not do, its power being weakened by the flesh, the entire nature of man without Holy Spirit, sending His own Son in the guise of sinful flesh, and as an offering for sin, God condemned sin in the flesh. He subdued it, overcame it, and deprived it of its power over all who accept that sacrifice, so that the righteous and just requirement of the law might be fully met in us who live and move not in the ways of the flesh, but in the ways of the Spirit, our lives governed not by the standards and according to the dictates of the flesh, but controlled by the Holy Spirit. So see, Jesus was sent in order to fulfill the law, not undo it, and that's what it says in Matthew 17. I did not come to do away with or to undo the law or the prophets. I have come not to do away with it, but to complete it and fulfilled it. And see, we talked about yesterday that he did not come, or that if there had not been something amiss or missing from the first, there would have never been a second. If the first covenant, if the first law had been without its faults, then there would have been no need for Jesus to come. But see, we can't, washing the outside was not enough. Cleaning the outside of the cup was not enough. Getting the dirt off of our hands and feet was not enough. He wanted to clean us up from the inside out. We'll pick up here tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye, y'all.